Hello everyone and welcome back to Simon's World. Today's conversation is a very important one, especially for those following the diversity visa lottery journey. Many people focus on winning the DV lottery, but very few talk about what happens after someone arrives in the United States, the adjustments, the support system, and the personal responsibility involved. And these are the things that most of us want to know, but to get them answered honestly is very difficult. In many online spaces, hosting is misunderstood. Some see it as sponsorship, others see it as a promise of long-term support, and some they believe that once they arrive in the US, life automatically becomes easy. That is not true. Today's conversation is about reality, and I am joined by Doug, who is speaking to us from the United States. This is our very first time speaking face to face, so you'll bear with me.
Hello, Simon.
Yes, how are you?
Good.
Good.
How are you?
Finally we've met.
Yes.
I'm trying to set up and trying to set things here.
Okay.
Alan could not join us today, so we begin the discussion with Doug's account of hosting a DV lottery winner, who is Alan.
Has Alan joined us?
No, he won't be joining us now. The last time I talked to Mosi, I think it's his brother. The number they gave me was his brother.
Moses? Alan's brother is Moses.
Moses is the brother.
Yes. Moses has been here in the U.S. for quite a number of years. I'd say he's been here for, maybe close to 15 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the person you're hosting is his brother.
Yes, we were hosting his brother, and now they've found a place of their own now. So, yeah.
Oh, that's why it's been quite some challenge communicating between the two of you.
Yeah.
Hosting someone in a new country is about more than providing a place to stay. It's about guidance, support, and navigating challenges together. To understand this fully, let's first learn about Doug, his family, and the journey that led them to open their home to a diversity visa lottery winner.
My name's Doug Perry, and I'm from USA, Colorado is the state that I live in, and I have a wife, and together we have 7 children, and we have 23 grandchildren now, and I'm still working and still employed in my occupation, but I'm also doing philanthropic endeavors there, mainly in Kenya.
Doug and his family have first-hand experience hosting a diversity visa lottery winner. They did so not as an organization. They are not agents, but they are just ordinary people navigating a very real situation, helping people. This was the first family Doug and his wife hosted.
Yes, Alan and his family are the first ones that we've hosted. Yeah.
It wasn't part of an organizational program, as I had mentioned earlier. It was simply neighbors helping neighbors, friends helping friends. So to recap a little things that I need to remind you is that the DV lottery is random, but success after arrival is not. So success depends on preparation, it depends on mindset, and it depends on personal responsibility. So if you're applying for the DV lottery, or if you have already won, or if you're a family considering hosting a DV winner, this conversation will help you understand a few things about what hosting truly means and what it does not. So stick around. This conversation is educational. Don't mistake, this is not an entertainment. It is not an offer. We are not offering anything here, and we are not guaranteeing anything. So also I really want to stress on this, because here We're not about advising anyone to bypass the law. Follow all the laws, stick to regulations.
Yeah, so I really have no experience in the lottery. I've heard about it before, and I've talked to people that have actually come to the U.S. Via the lottery, but we ended up hosting Alan and his family because I became acquainted here in Colorado with his brother Moses, and we've become good friends, and so I offered to allow them to stay with us until they were able to find employment and another permanent place to stay.
So Doug emphasizes that it's not about long-term support or permanent hosting. Instead, it's about helping newcomers settle into a new environment to gain independence and navigate new life in a foreign country, because there are people who come from different countries going to seek the US dream. A lot of people confuse hosting with sponsorship. They assume it means long-term financial support or a formal obligation. Doug clarifies that hosting is much more practical and temporary. It's about providing a safe space to live, guidance on settling in, and basic support while the family establishes independence. This includes things like finding housing, enrolling children in school, and navigating a new community.
So really, for Alan and his family, we just provided them a place to live while they kind of got trying to get settled and get driver's license and find a place to live permanently and being able to enroll their kids in school. And they've found a nice Kenyan church community here in the area that we live, and so hosting them is essentially just providing them an opportunity for a place to stay and helping them with food and housing and until they've been able to locate their own place. So they live with us for just maybe a month or five weeks, something like that.
To be clear, hosting is never meant to be permanent.
Hosting is not a permanent thing, no.
It's a temporary support system designed to help newcomers transition into independent living. Doug stresses that the goal is for families to become self-sufficient, settle into the community, and establish their own home.
Hosting is just helping them until they can get settled with their own place to stay and live.
Hosting is a two-way relationship, and expectations go both ways. Doug explains that cultural differences between the US and Kenya, from food to daily routines, this can create small challenges.
Yeah. So I think one thing that we have to maybe recognize is that there are probably cultural differences between the U.S. and Kenya, and the food is not going to be the same. I don't know how to cook ugali. I don't even know what ugali is. So some of those things are going to be different.
The host family's role is to guide newcomers as they integrate into the new community they are in, to help them find employment and housing, and support them in understanding the local culture. At the same time, newcomers are expected to be respectful and cooperative with the family hosting them.
I think the host family needs to be able to help understand, help the family that they're hosting to get integrated into the community and find so they can help them maybe with looking for employment and looking for a permanent place to live, helping them understand the culture in the U.S. and those kind of things. And I think for the people that are coming that are able to come to the United States, that just being respectful of the family that they're staying with.
The key takeaway is that hosting is temporary. It's about providing support until the family can stand on their own.
Recognizing that it's not a permanent situation, but it's a temporary situation.
For Doug, hosting isn't seen as a burden or an inconvenience. It's a part of a larger philosophy that life is about helping others wherever possible. Even small gestures, like providing temporary housing or guidance, that can make a meaningful difference in someone else's life as they start fresh in a new country.
From my perspective, it's probably not that big of a sacrifice, but just life in my perspective is all about helping other people. So, how can we help others and help make their life a little better and a little bit easier.
Once newcomers arrive in the United States, Doug emphasizes the importance of taking personal responsibility immediately. Securing employment as quickly as possible is crucial, both for independence and for adjusting to life in a new country.
To secure employment as quickly as they can.
While finding work in the US is generally easier than in Kenya, the cost of living is high. Early employment allows new arrivals to support themselves, establish a routine, and start building a stable life.
Finding employment in the United States is much easier than it is in Kenya. And so, for example, Alan's wife, they arrived on October 30th, and she has started her new job already. Alan is still looking for employment, but I'm sure that he'll have something in the way of employment within the next 30 days or so. And so that's really, from what I understand, very different than what it is there in Kenya, where finding employment is extremely difficult.
Yes.
And so, fortunately, the opportunities to be able to work here in the U.S. are much better. The cost of living is very expensive, but to be able to have a job is a great thing. So I think focusing on getting employment is right away is important for those that are coming.
Doug also highlights that timing is important when it comes to seeking employment. Before starting work, newcomers should focus on getting the basics in place. That is obtaining a driver's license, understanding the local transportation system, and even getting familiar with the community.
For Alan, who has come, he's had a lot of help from his brother Moses, who lives here. And so Moses has taken him down and helped him study and pass a driver's test. So now he has a driver's license, and so he can drive here in the United States. And just learning those kind of things, getting settled in a community, where you've got support. And
having a support network like a local Kenyan community of friends and family can make this transition smoother. Once these foundational steps are taken, newcomers are better positioned to pursue employment successfully.
Fortunately, here in the area, the city that we live in, there's at least a smaller Kenyan community that help each other, which is really nice. And so, wherever you may go in the United States, I try to find an area where where you have a good Kenyan support community.
Winning the diversity visa lottery is a rare and exciting opportunity, but Doug emphasizes that preparation is key. Before arriving in the United States, it is important to learn as much as possible about the country, the area you plan to live, and the local community. Connecting with the relatives or friends already living in the US can provide valuable insight and help you build a support network even before you arrive.
Yeah, so I think I would try, if you've won the lottery, first of all, congratulations. That's fantastic. I know that it's just a very small percentage that are able to do that, are able to obtain that lottery winning. But I would learn as much about the U.S. As I could, and about the particular area that you're going to, that you plan to go to. I would use all your resources, anybody that you know that lives in the U.S. that you can have a conversation with and ask, have a good list of questions that, you can try to identify, maybe the state in which you want to live. And so that may be, relatives that already live here in the United States. And so it would make sense to maybe go live in the state that in the area that they live, so you can form that community with them. But I'd learn as much about the United States and about the area that you're going to go to live would be most important, I think.
Another critical consideration is employment. Skills and qualifications from your home country may not directly transfer to the US job market. Understanding the local demand and adjusting expectations can make the transition much easier.
In addition to that, what kind of work are you going to look for? Because a lot of the work doesn't necessarily transfer over. For example, if you're a plumber in Kenya, being a plumber in the United States is very, very different. And so your skill set that you have in Kenya may not exactly transfer over to find employment right away in the United States.
One common concern for new arrivals is whether the skills and experience they gained in their home country will be useful in the United States. Doug points out that while you shouldn't abandon your skills, you may need to adapt them to a new context. For example, trades like plumbing or IT may have similarities, but the standards, tools, and methods can differ.
You shouldn't abandon your skills that you've learned in Kenya, but they may not. It's going to be the same. The number of people, the type of plumbing that a plumber works on in Kenya may not be it's going to be much different in the United States. Somebody that's in IT in Kenya, the job that they find may have some correlation, but it may not be an exact transfer over from the knowledge and understanding that they have in Kenya versus what's maybe needed here for a specific job.
Understanding these differences and being flexible is key to finding meaningful employment. While some skills may transfer better than others, Doug points out that healthcare professionals, like nursing, often are highly transferable. Many Kenyans coming to the United States can continue their careers in this field with relative ease.
I think it probably would make things a little bit easier. The other thing that, is that I think the nurse transfer skills are very, very good. I know that here in the U.S., we have a lot of Kenyans that come and pursue nursing and or healthcare in some fashion. And so I think a lot of that does transfer over.
However, not all skills transfer directly. Some newcomers may need to start in a completely different career or at an entry-level position. Even with certifications from Kenya, the local requirements or opportunities may be different. Flexibility and a willingness to adapt are essential for success.
I think, coming to the U.S., you may have to recognize that you may need to start in a total different career and at at a basic entry level job, doing something that's different than what you thought you might be doing, because the employment opportunities may not be there just because you have a certificate in Kenya for something. That certificate in the U.S. may not be very useful potentially.
Many assume that winning the diversity visa lottery guarantees a smooth start in the United States. Doug is quick to clarify that this is a misconception. While the US provides some safety nets for people facing hardship, newcomers still face challenges similar to those they experience in their home countries, from securing housing to paying for groceries, transportation, and healthcare insurance. Jobs are available, but the cost of living is high, and financial independence requires effort, planning, and hard work. Understanding these realities is key for anyone moving to the US even after winning the lottery.
No, it's not so. There are people here in the United States that struggle just like there are people here in Kenya that struggle. The difference is maybe that someone that is economically poor in the United States, they may struggle to be able to buy the groceries that they need and be able to pay rent, and so on and so forth. But which is, I would assume, is the same struggles that you have in Kenya, but maybe just not to the degree that it is in Kenya. Very, very, very few people here would go without a meal for a day. We here in the United States, we're fortunate to have a safety net for people that are down on their luck or without employment, or that are having hard times. There are resources that people can go to, so they don't have to go hungry and they don't have to go without a place to live. But on the same side, here in the U.S., we believe I believe just as they do in Kenya, that work is a privilege and it's an opportunity. And almost every Kenyan that I've met, more than anything, really wants to be employed and have a job and all those things, but just being able to do that is so difficult. But I think the biggest contrast is that here in America, jobs are available, and you can get a job if you're willing to work hard and do all those things. But the cost of living is much more expensive than it is in Kenya. For example, in the area that we live, to rent a one-bedroom apartment, you're going to pay about $1,500 a month.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. And so and so you have to be working, and you have to be able to make enough money to pay the rent and buy the groceries and pay your car insurance if you're going to have a car, and pay your health insurance, and so all those things. So it is expensive, and so I'd be very interested to hear the perspective of those that have come from Kenya and now are here in the U.S., and how they find the differences to be from the economics. I would very much like to hear their perspective.
Many people arriving from different parts of the world believe that every American is wealthy and that life in the US comes easy. No, Doug wants to set the record straight. Opportunities exist, so does struggle.
A lot of people there in Kenya, I believe they see an American and they think, oh, every American is wealthy, and it's not so. I could take the camera down to places 20, 30 minutes from here, and we have people that live under bridges, and they don't have a house to live in, and they're living in a tent. And so no, there is opportunity here in the United States. That is absolutely for sure, but it doesn't mean that nobody struggles.
After discussing employment, financial realities, and the challenges of adjusting to a new culture, I asked Doug for practical guidance for new arrivals. What advice would you give to someone who has just arrived in the US to help them better understand how to settle in?
The other thing that I think is important in coming back to having a Kenyan community to go to if you are able to come to the United States, I think that's really important, because you're able to relate with people that have made that transfer from Kenya to the United States, and be able to discuss with them, hey, how do you do this and how do you do that, and what's the process for getting your kids enrolled in school, and what's the process for getting a driver's license, and what's the best way to find employment, and having those conversations with people that have done it, I think is of tremendous value. For me, it's hard to. I don't even know what you don't know. Does that make sense? I don't even know what questions you might have. And so I don't even know the right things to address from where you're coming from, and how to navigate all of these challenges of moving to a new country.
While the diversity visa lottery gets a lot of attention, it's not the only way to come to the United States. I asked Doug to share his perspective.
Well, I know a number of athletes that have been able to come to the United States. And then I've known also others from an academic perspective that have been able to come to the United States. For instance, Moses, I believe Moses came to the United States on an academic. But I have a great group of Kenyan friends that live here in our state that are professional runners, and so they've been able to come to the United States from athletics.
Life after arriving in the United States is a mix of opportunity and responsibility. Winning the diversity visa lottery opens a door, but it does not automatically hand you success. Success comes from the choices you make, the effort you put in, and the mindset you carry. The journey can be challenging. There will be cultural differences, unfamiliar systems, and moments of uncertainty. Finding work, securing housing, understanding the cost of living, and navigating daily life all take planning and perseverance. But every step you take toward independence builds confidence and resilience. Support networks matter, whether it's family, friends, or a community of people who have already made the transition. Connecting with others who understand your journey can save time, ease frustrations, and provide practical guidance. These connections don't replace hard work, but they make the path smoother. Your skills, experiences, and education from your home country remain valuable, even if they need to be adopted. Flexibility and a willingness to learn will allow you to find meaningful work and carve out a life that suits your goals. Above all, remember this: opportunity is real, but effort is essential. The US provides tools and possibilities, but they only become powerful when paired with preparation, personal responsibility, and a positive mindset. So if you're on this journey, whether you're planning to apply, or maybe you already won, or you're just thinking about coming to the US, take it seriously. Learn, prepare, connect, act, because success is shaped by the steps you take today. And if you want more honest, practical insights about immigration, education, and life abroad, subscribe to Simon's World. Here, we go beyond theory. We explore what really happens when people make these life-changing moves and how you can make most of your opportunities. Until the next one, I have more educational videos in the description below. Watch them.